Sveiki! Hi, my name is Baiba and I teach Latvian as a foreign language. So today I would like to talk about one group of verbs. So it's a second conjugation, or if you like we can call it second box of verbs, and non-reflexive form, or the verb form that ends with the t. So let's start. So this is the part 1. It means that I will have several more videos about verbs. So today, darbības vārdu iedalījums. So classification, how can we classify the verbs in Latvian language? And then this particular group of verbs in present, how do we conjugate them and how to change the endings for the verbs to use them in the present tense, in the past tense, or in the future tense. So, verb classification or darbības vārdu iedalījums. So the first group, I named it 0. In this group there is only 3 verbs. We call them nekārtnie darbības vārdi or irregular verbs. And they are iet, to go, to walk, būt, to be, and dot, to give. If you've been learning Latvian for some time, I'm sure you are familiar with these 3 verbs already, and you know that they change quite a lot. Yeah, so they are just 3 in this group. The second group is number 1. Grammatically we call it first conjugation verbs, or in Latvian pirmā conjugācija. Basically in this group belongs all the verbs what has only one syllable. One syllable in infinitive form. But in the text, yeah, you could often see and meet these verbs with the prefixes. So it means you need to recognize the prefix, take it away, and if it's one syllable, it belongs to this group. So this group is the most complicated or the most annoying one, because verbs can change a lot, and not just endings, but the consonants and letters before the ending as well. And for this group, my suggestion would be to all the students to learn verb by verb, or in very small groups, 2-3 verbs together. Yeah, we can't look at this group as one group and learn like all the verbs at the same time, because there is about 6 subfolders and in each of them will be several other groups as well. So but that's another time. So today we will talk about second group, or otrā konjugācija, or second conjugation, or simply second group of verbs. And in this group, the verbs always in the first person. So first person is S. When we say S, I do something. The verb in present tense and in the past tense is always the same. For S, not for tu, not for viņš, not for viņa, viņas, and so on. Only for S. So in this group, from the infinitive form itself, you can't recognize which group it belongs to second or third. Yeah, because we can recognize one syllable, so that goes directly to the first box, but second and third, you need to know more than that. So one idea is just to learn these verbs belong to this group. You start with a smaller amount and then slowly build up. Or if you learn pamat forms, so you learn more, you learn the infinitive form and S, present and past. So if the present and past is the same, it belongs to the second group. If it's different, so third group. And the third group, or third conjugation, or third box, trešā konjugācija. And in this group, as you can guess, I believe already, the present and the past for S is not the same. In general, present is always one syllable shorter than the past. Because when we start to conjugate this verb, we lose the last vowel as well. So we lose one syllable when we create present tense. When it goes back to the past and the future, So actually you create the same way as a second group. Today, if you learn and understand what I'm telling you in this video, and you feel confident afterwards, yeah, to use the verbs in second conjugation groups in present, past and future. So past and future will be also for this group, exactly the same way. Same endings, same way. So basically you learn already more than just one group of verbs, but almost another group as well. So, second conjugation verbs in present. Present in Latvian is tagadne. You know the verb tagad, now, and tagadne, if we add ne, that's present. So, this is the first few verbs. All of them belong to this group. Yeah, and I think if you just started, then, and this will be the first information for you, but if you've been studying, I'm sure you knew these verbs already, you know them. Dzīvot, studēt, strādāt, apmeklēt, domāt, runāt, jautāt. All the verbs end with a t. It means they are non-reflexive verbs because there is other group of verbs, and more about that we will talk in the next video. Verbs that ends with a t is called non-reflexive verbs. So when we start to conjugate the verb, we lose that t. We lose that and we add a new ending. So the new endings are here. Some of the study books, or majority of them, will give you a separate table for each vowel. So the vowels could be O, E, A, and sometimes even other vowels as well. I think the vowel is not that important. We need to know that this verb belongs to this group. We lose t of any of these verbs and others who also belongs to this group, and some of them you will see soon, and add a new ending. So S, that's, we call it first person. So when we talk about I do something, es dzīvo, so we lose t and instead we add ju. Es dzīvoju, I live. Es dzīvoju. Tu, we lose t, and that's it. So it's crossed with a red line because what's left, that's our verb form. So we lose t, and what's left, that's our verb form for tu, which means you. You singular and informal. Tu studē. Tu dzīvo. So es dzīvoju, tu dzīvo. Es studēju, tu studē. Let's add the third one. Strādāt, to work. So viņš, viņa, viņa, viņas, it's a third person. It's he, she, and they plural. They plural feminine. And yeah, viņa would be masculine or mixed group. All of them always has the same verb form, so that's why I put all these together. Also, when we talk about not a person but things, it, in Latvian, it could be replaced with the demonstrative pronoun tas, tā, or šis, she, this and that. Also would work as a third person. So as you can see, the ending for all of them, yeah, this t should be in the middle, so it belongs to all this group. Again, the same as tu. So we stop with the last vowel. Tātad, viņš strādā. O viņa strādā, viņi strādā, viņas strādā. Or we could say tas strādā, vai tā strādā, vai šis strādā, vai šī strādā. So let's start again. Tātad es strādāju, tu strādā, viņš strādā. So for mēs, we need a bit of jam. But not jam, yum, 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 jam. Mēs, it's we. So if we start with a mēs, then we end with a as well. Tātad apmeklējam. Mēs apmeklējam. We visit. Mēs apmeklējam. Usually visit places and formal visits like a doctor. Yeah, not the friends and family. For that we usually use a different verb. Now let's start. Tātad apmeklēt. Es apmeklēju. Tu apmeklē. Viņš, viņa, viņi, viņas, tas, tā, šis, šī, apmeklē, mēs apmeklējam. Mēs apmeklējam. The next verb is domāt, to think. So jūs, it's also you, but it's plural now. Well, yeah, plural you, and formal. If you address one person formally, you use this you. Yeah. So, domājat. Jat. Jūs domājat. Tad es domāju, tu domā, viņš, viņa, viņi, viņas, tas, tā, šis, šī domā, mēs domājam, jūs domājat. Runāt. To speak. Es runāju. Tu runā. Viņš runā. Mēs runājam. Jūs runājat. And the last one in this moment is jautāt. Es jautāju. Tu jautā, viņš jautā, mēs jautājam, jūs jautājat. Is that clear? If yes, let's move on. Atbildi uz jautājumiem. So answer my questions. So in the question, I'm using the verb darīt. The verb darīt doesn't belong to this group, but we use it in the questions, and we use mainly in the question this verb. So we don't use it like in English, I do this and I do that in the answer. So we use it in the question, but in your answer you need to go directly to the action you're literally doing, not I do. So I run, I read, and so on. Yeah? Ko tu tagad dari? Ko tu tagad dari? Try to write it down in the answer to this question in the chat if you like, or you can send me an email. You will see the email address at the end of this video or in the description of the video if you want me to check is your answer correct. Yeah, try to remember any of the verbs you've been using or any other verb you know it belongs to this group. And don't use darīt. Ko tu tagad dari? So what are you doing now? Kur jūs strādājat? Yeah, see? Jūs strādājat. Where do you work? Kur jūs strādājat? Because it's jūs, I'm using jat. So what would be your answer? Probably you will use es. And what will happen here if you use es? Next. Ko mēs tagad darām? Ko mēs? What are we doing now? Ko mēs tagad darām? Write your answer. Vai jūs dzīvojat Rīgā? Do you live in Riga? Vai jūs dzīvojat Rīgā? Sorry. So when that's done, let's move on. Ko viņi dara? So remember, viņi was the third person, they. What are they doing? Again, I'll show you a few pictures and I would like you to try to write it down. Write down the sentences. Try to use the verb. Yeah, the one of the verbs we looked at. Ko viņš dara? Stop the video if needed. Ko viņas dara? No need for long sentences, very short. Just practicing to change verb endings. Ko viņi dara? Ko viņi dara? Pagātne, pagātne, past. So new verbs, all of them still belong to the same group, all of them still ends with a t, and it still changed the ending for the person to create a past tense. So this happened already. And again we lose t and add a new ending. I already mentioned before that for S, for all this group of verbs, present and past is the same. It means that again we add you. We take any verb, lose the t, any verb from this group, yeah, and add you. So, es mazgāju, es maksāju, es piedāvāju, es zīmēju, es audzēju, es būvēju, es smēķēju. Or nesmēķēju. So to create a negative form to any of the verbs mentioned here, you just add ne, ne, ne in front of the any verb and any verb form to make it negative. Yeah, es nemazgāju, es nemaksāju, es nepiedāvāju, es nezīmēju, and so on. What also is important to mention that because you cannot mean anything else, just s. No need to always say s. So we can skip the personal pronoun, same as we could skip I, because the ending y tells us it's tu. It cannot be anything else. As you can see, it changes always. So here we wouldn't need to use the personal pronoun because we want to know it's he or she. But if that's clear already in a text, we talk about one person for several minutes already. Yeah, and so if it's he, so probably you could skip that as well. Yeah, but to be precise, then we would need to use personal pronoun he or she or they, feminine plural. But for mēs, again, you can skip it because Jan tells us it's mēs. For jūs, again, the same. Ending tells us the personal pronoun. That's why Latvians would skip it quite often. But my suggestion is not to start to skip it. Definitely not. Especially if you are a beginner. Try to use full sentences. But remember, if you read a text and something is missing and you can't get the meaning, look what the ending tells you, yeah, from the verb. Verb in general is the most important word in Latvian language in the sentence to understand the structure, to understand what will follow after the verb, yeah, to which person it's connected to. So from the verb you can find out a lot of information. And I have a video about why verb is the most important word in the sentence. Check that if you are interested. So, in the past, when we say es mazgāju, as you know, present, it was exactly the same. So what to do now? How to recognize it's happened already in the past or it's happening right now? Any ideas? So we need to use some time adverbs like now, tagad, es mazgāju tagad, I wash now my car, or es mazgāju mašīnu no rīta, so I washed my car in the morning. So the time adverb will tell us is it happening right now or it happened already before. And again, if you use this verb and you use S form, make sure the person understands you're talking about present or past. Use some time adverbs, okay? So, that. For tu, now we have an ending. Remember, before we just lose t, and what's left, we stop with that vowel, yeah? Now we need to add ji. Tu mazgāji. And we know it's a past. No, we don't need to definitely add the time adverb. Yeah, we can recognize from the ending, it's in the past. Tu mazgāji, tu maksāji, tu piedāvāji, tu zīmēji, tu audzēji, tu būvēji, tu smēķēji. Or again, if it's a negative form, just add ne, nemazgāji, nemaksāji. Again, for the third person, or viņš, viņa, viņi, viņas, tas, tā, šis, she, we add ja. Ja. So, viņš mazgāja, viņa nemaksāja, viņi piedāvāja, viņas zīmēja, tas audzēja, tā nebūvēja, šis smēķēja, šī nesmēķēja. Tātad it all tells us if the thing happened or didn't happen in the past. Mēs. So what was the present form for mēs? What was the ending? So I said a bit of jam. We need a bit of jam. So the pronunciation is not ju, it's jam in Latvian. Jam. So what's the difference now? The only difference is this little line on the top of the A. So if before it was jam, now it's jām. Jām. Hear the difference. Jam, jām. Also for jūs, the only difference is the long vowel. We had jat in the present, and in the past it's jāt. Jāt. Now let's see how it sounds. So mēs mazgājām. Jūs maksājāt. Mēs piedāvājām. Jūs zīmējāt. Mēs audzējām. Jūs būvējāt. Mēs smēķējām. Jūs smēķējāt. In the written text, you can recognize from the vowel, is it happening in the past? Yeah, if it's a short A, it's a present tense. If it's a long A, it's a past. For the listening skills, it's much harder. Yeah, because I believe if you're not very trained listener or you don't have very perfect hearing, then it could be hard to recognize when it's short and when it's long vowel. Yeah, when it's a present and past. Then again, the time adverbs will tell you. Yeah, if the time adverbs is used in the speech, then you should recognize it's happened in the past or it's happening right now from the context. So now I will try to read few sentences in the present and the past. So for mēs and jūs, try to hear the difference if possible. Mēs mazgājam. Mēs mazgājām. Jūs maksājat. Jūs maksājāt. Mēs piedāvājam. Mēs piedāvājām. Mēs zīmējam. Mēs zīmējām. Mēs audzējam. Mēs audzējām. Mēs būvējam. Mēs būvējām. Mēs smēķējam. Mēs smēķējām. So good luck with this. You have to recognize. What else I would like to remind you, as I mentioned at the beginning, these endings exactly the same way by losing the t and adding these endings, we are using for all the third group of verbs, not the second only also a third conjugation verbs and many first conjugation verbs as well, and even irregular verb. If you know to be verb in the past, remember, is biju. Tu biji. Viņš, viņa bija. Mēs bijām. Jūs bijāt. So the to be verb also takes the same endings. So it's good to learn this interesting word. Ju, ji, ja, jām, jāt. Ju, ji, ja, jām, jāt. It should help you to use a lot more often verbs in different forms. Also, for the many first conjugation verbs, when we looked at the past, the endings could be the same without the j's. Yeah, with some verbs, the endings will be u, I, a, am, at, and no j's, no y. But as I said, first conjugation is annoying, so the things before the ending will change as well. So, next, now it's your practice. Atbildi uz jautājumiem. Ko tu darīji vakar? Vakar means yesterday. Ko tu darīji vakar? Ko jūs mazgājāt agrāk? Ko jūs mazgājāt agrāk? Ko mēs darījām pirms 5 minūtēm? Ko mēs darījām pirms 5 minūtēm? What did we do 5 minutes ago? Vai jūs agrāk smēķējāt? Jūs smēķējāt. And the time adverb also helps us. So, write down your answers. Would love to see how does it go. And let's move on. Next, ko viņi darīja? So again, I'll show you the pictures. Third person, viņi. So it means it's not only viņi, they. It could be he or she, depends on the picture. Yeah, you can change the personal pronoun according to the picture and write down the activity in the past. It's already happened. Yeah, we are practicing now the past form. So you could say viņš or viņa, no, or viņi, and then if you need, stop video. If you need to go back and look for the verbs if you forgot them. What could be the verb that you could use here? Take it as a practice. Just simply try to build some sentences. Use the verbs from this group. Yeah? Make sure. So, nākotne, future. So what do we do? How to express ourselves in the future, near future or future what's happening after a long time. It doesn't matter. It happens in the future. And Latvians are using the future form a lot. Yeah, all this often that when in English is used an ing form, so going to do, in Latin we would use a future. So we would always say, we'll do this, we'll do that. Yeah, if it's happening even in 2 minutes or 10 seconds. So again, new verbs, but they all belong to the same group. Barot, lidot, kārtot. Here I could have a little comment. Kārtot is to put in order, like to kārtot istabu, to tidy up a room. Also we use kārtot to do an exam. Kārtot eksāmenu. Somehow we try to put it in order, I believe. Vai kārtot vīzu. Yeah, to get the visa done. Or kārtot uzturēšanās atļauju, residency, and so on. Dejot, ceļot, plānot un jokot. So do you know already any of the future endings? So the pattern is the same. Again, we lose t of infinitive form. And what do we add instead? There you go. Lots of s sounds will be at the end. I heard that Estonians says that Latvians are whistling. So why do we whistle? So and then when I'm trying to teach Latvian and I teach Latvian to foreigners and I hear this s, tss, s at the end of the lots of words, I start to recognize and get an idea why would Estonians say that Latvians are whistling. So as you can see, lots of s here. Es barošu. So we don't say t, but after o we add šu. Es barošu. So I will feed. Es lidošu. Yeah, I'm going to fly, or I will fly. Es kārtošu. Yeah, I will either put it in order, or tidy up, or I will do the exam. Es dejošu. I will dance. Es ceļošu. I will travel. So lots of things I love to do is in this one. Es plānošu. Un es jokošu. So what are you gonna do? What's your favorite things from this list? Say to yourself, I will do this and that. Es. And then some sh, that it goes to your future. So when it's done, let's move to when we would like to ask our friends or colleagues, someone we treat not like very formally, so we could use tu. Then we add the si. So we would like to know, usually we would use this in a questions, yeah? Vai tu lidosi? Will you fly? Vai tu lidosi? Vai tu barosi? Vai tu kārtosi? Tu dejosi? Tu ceļosi? Tu plānosi? Tu jokosi? Si. Yeah, for tu. And for third person, viņš, viņa, viņi, viņas, tas, tā, šis, and she is just s. You add a single letter s instead of t. So then it sounds like this. Viņš baros, viņa lidos, viņi kārtos, viņas dejos, tas ceļos, tā plānos, šis jokos un arī šī jokos. For mēs, again, if we start with a we finish with a and this time it's sim. Sim. Mēs barosim, mēs lidosim, mēs kārtosim, mēs dejosim, mēs ceļosim, mēs plānosim, mēs jokosim. And for jūs, it's gonna be siet. Siet. Jūs barosiet, jūs lidosiet, jūs kārtosiet, jūs dejosiet, ceļosiet, plānosiet, jokosiet. And again, as I mentioned before, so if the ending doesn't have like the same somewhere else, it only has one personal pronoun connected to this ending, we can skip personal pronoun. A person could just say lidošu mājās, ceļošu uz Angliju, kārtosim eksāmenu, vai iesiet uz darbu. Yeah? Instead of vai jūs iesiet, will you go, we just could skip you. Yeah? But vai iesiet. So it means iesiet, it cannot mean anything else, just jūs. It's easier in a written text, I think, to recognize if you know the endings, then you know what it's, what the person is talking about or writing about. In the spoken language, okay, I believe it could be a little bit more difficult, but I think if you know, then you can start to hear it, then you can start to notice it, and after a while, you can start to use it as well. At first, you just recognize. So again, one interesting word to learn, šusiesimsiet, šusiesimsiet. It works for all the second conjugation verbs in the future, for all the third conjugation verbs to create a future, and majority of the first conjugation verbs as well. Because, and even irregular verb to be, remember, to be, būt. So what's the future form? Es būšu, I will be, es būšu, tu būsi, viņš, viņa būs, mēs būsim, jūs būsiet. So exactly the same endings. Yeah? When you learn to be verb, you already know a future endings for all the verbs. And for the first conjugation verbs, which is said, was this very annoying one, the endings, the future form often is created from infinitive form. Not always, often. It means that you can use, often it's going to be like exactly this way. First conjugation verb, and now to, lose to, and add new ending. But that's another story, another video. Not today. Just try to pay attention to these endings, that it's good to learn them. I think it helps you a lot afterwards. To spell it correctly, and then you don't need to use a long E here or long E because it's not there. So it will never be there. It's never going to be there. So endings are always like that, and then it helps with the spelling as well, and to use it correctly in all forms. So I hope you learned again something new. So a little bit more pictures. Ko viņi darīs? So in the future, what are they going to do? Write down your sentences. Would love to see. Ko viņš darīs? He's not doing it. He's not doing it yet. So he will start it soon. That's their plan for the evening. They're not doing it yet. So the future. Create a future form. She's also planning something. And this is the shortest summary I can create. So the endings I ask you to learn today is, just remember the first one is S. Yeah, for S you use you, present, you in the past, shu in the future. For tu, so you lose tu and what's left, that's your verb form in present, ji in the past, si in the future. For the third person, viņš, viņa, viņa, viņas, and tas, tā, šis, and she, again, same for present, you lose tu and what's left, that's your verb form. For ja in the past, and add s for the future. And then mēs, so mēs, use the m, and it ends with a as well, always. So jam for present, jām for past, and sim for future. And jūs, so you plural or formal singular. For present, jat, in the past, jāt, and the future, siet. Not so bad, right? Would love to hear your comments. Veiksmi means good luck with your studies. Ask me questions if you have any questions. And I'll see you next time in the next video when I will talk about same verb group but reflexive verbs. So the verbs from the same group but the ends with the not t but ties, T-I-E-S. Paldies. Ask me questions, send your sentences, would love to hear your feedback. Paldies, atā! Till next time, līdz nākamai reizei!